Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. It's Tuesday. Time to talk about some new releases coming out this Friday, March 14th. There's about 300 albums coming out this week. I got 12 on my list for today. There's a bunch of links down below. You got links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlist that I put together every week, and the Patreon page. So make sure you check all that out. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. Like I said in the intro, there's about 300 albums coming out this week. I'm only going to talk about 12 of them today, though. So if there's something you're looking forward to that I don't have on here, make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to grabbing. Like always, if you're unable to find these in your local brick and mortar stores, they should all be available online. I'll put links down below in the comment section. You can also always go over to the Vinyl Den store on Amazon. I got all the pre-orders on there. There's new releases, all sorts of cool stuff to check out. I think the big release this week is going to be the See You on the Other Side version 2.0. This is the box set from Ozzy Osbourne. So this is a 27 LP box set. It's going to run you about $600. This is the reissue of the 2019 box set, which sold out pretty quick. This one looks like it's sold out pretty much everywhere also. This is, I think there's 2,000 copies of this that were pressed. So the big difference between the original box set and this new version is the original was on colored vinyl. This one's all going to be on black vinyl. And the new box set also includes Ordinary Man and Patient Number 9, which are the two albums he's released since the release of that first box set. But version 1.0 sells for $2,000 to $3,000 if you want to find it on Discogs or on eBay. This one, I'm sure, is going to sell pretty well. Like I said, it's already sold out everywhere. I think that you're going to see a lot of those pop up on secondary markets. I actually have one on pre-order. I'm kind of leaning towards canceling it, though, because I have the first box set. I probably don't need another copy of it, but I probably have until middle part of the week to cancel it. So we'll see what I end up doing. You also got a reissue of Boy Named Goo coming out this week by the Goo Goo Dolls. Came out in 1995. It was their fifth studio album. There's a black version of this. There's also a blue version. I think the blue version was the store exclusive. It's on 2 LPs. It's going to run you about $38. This is the album that really made the Goo Goo Dolls a household name. Of course, Name was the big single off of this album. But I think some people, if all you know is like this album and on from the Goo Goo Dolls and have never listened to their first couple of albums, I think you might be really surprised that the band really started out as this like late 80s, very early 90s punk band. And then they slowly transitioned to what the band would become. This was the album where they fully made that transition from a punk band to more like a post-grunge alternative rock band. And it worked. I mean, you can't argue with what they did because, this was a huge album when it was released. This one wasn't available on vinyl until 2015. And if you want to go back and grab a copy of that, it's going to cost you at least $100 to $200. This one that was definitely due to get reissued. They're doing this for the 30th anniversary. So this comes with a second disc of all live material. Looks like it's all recorded. It's all unreleased material from March of 1996. So, it's definitely what I'm looking forward to. I already have that one on pre-order. You've also got the new album from Steven Wilson coming out this week. This is the overview. So it says 8 solo studio album. There's a black version of this. There's also a mint green. The mint green is going to be the indie exclusive version. It's going to run you about $30. It's all half-speed mastered. It's 2 tracks, over 42 minutes long. So side 1 is Objects Outlive Us, and then side 2 is the overview. This is his follow-up to the Harmony Codex in 2023, which got a lot of really good reviews. I've been very open and honest about my struggles with progressive rock over the years, and I've never really gotten into Steven Wilson's music. It's definitely one I'll stream this week when it gets released, though. You've also got the new album from Throwing Muses coming out. This is Moonlight Concessions. So it's their 11th studio album. It's going to be on cream vinyl. It's going to run you about $33. This is their follow-up to their album Sun Racket from 2020. To be completely honest, I didn't even know they were still a band. I haven't listened to any of their music, I don't think since maybe the middle part of the 90s. But according to the couple of interviews I read from the band, for this album, they tried to get back to their like indie rock roots on this one. So, it's another one I'll add to my list to stream this week. There's a couple of classic 90s albums getting reissued this week. The first one was Bigger, Better, Faster, More by Four Non Blondes. So this came out back in 1992. It was their debut and only studio album. It's going to be on red vinyl. It's kind of pricey. It's going to run you about $48. But this is a great album. Of course, known for What's Up, which is a huge track when it was released. And if that's all you know from the band, probably should go back and listen to the rest of this album because it's a lot better than just that one track. Four Non Blondes are always tagged as one of those one-hit wonder bands from the 90s, but I think they're more of a only hit wonder band because it's the only album they ever released. Of course, Linda Perry would go on to be a huge producer. She'd do a lot of stuff outside of Four Non Blondes. And they're one of those bands I wish would have released more music because I think they could have done even bigger and better things than this one album. But this album here, so this was reissued a bunch of times, but was never with the original artwork until the 25th anniversary in 2017. That 2017 pressing got reissued in 2023, and that's when I bought my copy. So the reissue that's coming out this week is with that original artwork. It's an album that, if you don't have it, it's a good one to look at. I already have a copy of it, so I can pass on it this week. You also got the debut album from Sheryl Crow coming out this week. So this is Tuesday Night Music Club. Came out back in 1993. It's going to be on blue vinyl. It's going to run you about $40. So there's been several reissues of this album over the last couple of years. This looks like it's a reissue of the 2018 RSD version, which sells for $75 plus on Discogs. I've long considered this one of the best debut albums of the early part of the 90s. But it's a huge album. It hit number 30 on the Billboard 200. It would sell over 13 million copies. It's a great album, and one that actually I just picked this one up on vinyl probably within the last 4 or 5 months. I got on one of those sales. I think it was through like You Discover Music or one of those websites. Had a big 30% off sale, so I was able to grab a copy of it then. There's also a Super Deluxe box set coming out this week for what is probably one of the most hated albums in recent memory, but this is Roger Waters' The Dark Side of the Moon Redux. So this is a big 3 LP, 4 10-inch box set. It's going to run you about $230. The 3 LPs are on yellow vinyl, the 10-inch are all on black. So what's included in this box set is the 2 LP version, the original version of The Dark Side of the Moon Redux. There's a 1 LP for live material it was recorded October 8th and 9th, 2023. This was put together in celebration of the 50th anniversary of The Dark Side of the Moon, which I've long considered one of the greatest, if not the greatest album ever recorded. The reviews for this album, when Roger released it, were not good. And to be completely honest, I can't tell you, I don't think I ever read a single positive review for this album when it came out. So, I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't think it was great. I didn't think it was terrible. I get what Roger was trying to do with parts of it. I don't think the spoken word parts through the album worked the way he intended it to. And this is one of those box sets. For $230, I don't think they're going to sell a lot of copies of this. It is limited to 3,000 copies. We'll see if it ever actually sells out. I'm sure it will. I think there's a lot of Pink Floyd and Dark Side of the Moon fans out there that will buy this just to have it, just to be a completionist. It's something I don't need to have. I have the standard album. I don't listen to it very often, and it's one that I probably will end up selling eventually. This is one of those things that I don't see why there was a need for this box set. But the 4 10-inch singles that are included in here, you got a single for Money, Time, Breathe, and Us and Them, which I think are 4 of the best songs on the album. And I think $230 for what you're getting in this box set is very expensive. I will say that if this thing was less than $100, I probably still wouldn't pick it up, but I would at least consider it then. But I don't know. It is coming out this week if you're looking forward to it. There's also Jimmy Page and the Black Crowes Live at the Greek coming out this week. So this is an expanded edition of an album that was released back in 2000. There's a 2 LP version that's going to run you about $30. There's also the 6 LP box set that's going to run you about $120. It's all newly remastered for this release. So this is the 2 LP version has 15 tracks on here. And then the 6 LP version has 36 tracks. So basically what it is, the 2 LP version is like a greatest hits compilation of that bigger box set. 16 of the tracks in the bigger box set are all unreleased. The cool thing about this release, or this show, is they played not only Black Crowes songs, they also played some Led Zeppelin tracks also. I think when this was first released, there was like some licensing issues. I don't think the Black Crowes songs were included on this album initially, but this is the full performance you're getting. There is an Amazon exclusive of the 2 LP release that's gonna be on white vinyl. There's an indie exclusive also. It looks like it's on this like gray and purple vinyl. I think the color of the indie exclusive looks better than the white, but it's one I'll at least check out this week. $30 or 2 LPs is not a bad price. There's also the self-titled debut album from Britny Fox getting reissued this week. So this came out back in 1988. It's a music on vinyl release. It's going to run you about $38. It's on white vinyl. It's limited to 750 copies, which is way too low. I feel like any album, even though Britny Fox is not a huge band, I feel like, 1,000 to 1,500 It's probably the low end on what should be released. This album was never reissued until 2024 when Music on Vinyl released it. I think it was on red vinyl when that one came out. Limited to 1,000 copies. It sold pretty fast. But you can still pick up a copy on Discogs for like a little over $50. So it is still available out there. So maybe that's why they do more than a 750 count run for this album. But this is one of those late 80s glam rock albums that I was really surprised was never bigger than it was. It is a really catchy album. You know, I've always compared these guys to like what Cinderella was doing in the 80s, but of course they were a much bigger band, much more popular than what they were with this album. I know there are a couple singles off this album that got some airplay. I think Girls' School was one that was like a minor hit. But I think Long Way to Love was really the only track off this album that never got like significant airplay. But like I said, it's an album that I've always enjoyed this album. I don't know if I need to have a copy of it on vinyl, but I'll put it on my maybe list this week. Then you've also got a reissue of Pezcore by Less Than Jake coming out. So this came out back in 1995. It was their debut album. It's going to be on black vinyl. It's going to run about $26. This album was supposed to come out a couple of weeks ago. But I don't know if they did like a limited release and now it's getting like a wider release this week, because I've seen multiple websites that have this listed still as a pre-order for this week. But this album was one of the more influential ska punk albums of the middle part of the 90s. I think really laid the foundation for what ska would do over the rest of the decade. I think Automatic was really the only video I ever remember seeing off this. I remember it was played on 120 minutes multiple times. I think it was really kind of my introduction into Less Than Jake. And they did just reissue this for the first time. This is the first time it's been reissued as like a wider commercial release. They did a limited release, I think, last month. It was on colored vinyl. I do have a copy of it. It was all numbered. I think they only did like 1,000 copies of it. But if you don't have that pressing and you're a 90s ska fan, this is definitely one to pick up. And then the last two albums I got on my list this week are two other Less Than Jake releases. First one was Losing Streak, came out back in 1996. It was their second studio album. It's going to be on black vinyl. It's going to run about $24. The same thing as Pezcore. This is an album that I thought came out a couple of weeks ago. Maybe they did like a limited run, and they're releasing more this week. I know for both this album and for Pezcore, there was a really limited, I think they only did like 1,000 copies on colored vinyl. It came out, I think, last month. I do have copies of both of those. They're great albums. Pezcore was never reissued until this pressing that's coming out in the early part of this year. And Losing Streak, they did a 25th anniversary pressing of it a couple of years back, but that pressing itself was the first time it had been pressed since it was first released. This is the album that the band really broke into the mainstream with. It's got a bunch of their best known tracks on here. I think it's easily one of the best ska albums of the 90s. And for $24, I think it's a great price for a new release. It's a great price for a great album. And then the last album I got on my list, this is the new EP that they released back in November of 2024. This is Uncharted. It's going to run you about $23. This is the follow-up to their album Silver Linings that came out in 2020. This one's also going to be on black vinyl. I know there's multiple colored variants of this that have come out over the last several months, but I think this is going to be like the standard retail version of this album. And this album was produced by Bill Stevenson, who is the drummer for the Descendants. So it's I've only heard one song off of it so far. I definitely need to check out the rest of the EP though. But it was met with a lot of really great reviews. I think it hit number 16 on the rock and metal charts in the UK. But when they first went into the studio to record this, they didn't intend to create an EP. I think initially it was just they were just working on just some random songs, and then over time they kind of slowly start building this EP. But Less Than Jake is another one of those bands that I don't think has ever released a bad album. So it's one I do need to stream, and for $23, I probably will grab a copy of that this week. Well, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to grabbing this week. Like I said, I think that Ozzy Osbourne box set is going to be a big thing. Of course, it's already sold out pretty much everywhere. I think it's sold out on Amazon. It's sold out on Ozzy's website. It's sold out on every other website I've seen that had it listed on there. But, so it's one that, like I said before, I'll probably end up canceling. I'm kind of leaning towards canceling that pre-order because $600, I really don't need another copy of that box set. But I'll stream the new Steven Wilson album. I'll stream the new Throwing Muses album. I got some question marks next to some other ones. We'll see what I end up grabbing this week. But I don't know what you guys are looking forward to. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure to give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. That's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.